YouTube, hey, today I'm bringing you another deck profile. It's been a while. Today I'm going to be featuring the Kaiba mat with Sagi the Dark Clown over here. Definitely one of the cooler mats, at least the Sagi art. It's definitely been a while since I've uploaded a deck, maybe a couple of weeks. I do have, I think, 4 decks right now that I'm looking at, so I should be uploading those relatively soon. But today I'm going to be bringing you my favorite deck of the format, my favorite type of deck, and that is zombies. So I've never really competitively played zombies, but I love zombies. I still need to get one more Super Reaper before I ever make a max rarity zombie deck profile, but that is for the future. So today I'm going to be showing you a deck list that I've kind of been toying around with. The unfortunate part about zombies, while it's definitely an acceptable deck of the format, it's not by any means, it's not really, I don't want to say competitive because it is competitive, but I think zombies is still a work in progress for finding the build. I don't think the deck's been given enough attention to expand upon what can be played with zombies. In fact, every zombie deck that I've ever seen, the deck list is almost entirely just 1 to 2 giant rat, 3 pyramid turtles, and then beaters. Or alternatively, it's still that thing, but then it has like the skill drains and abyss soldier, which I'm not saying those are bad builds, but I think we've hit a point, definitely it's 2020, let's start expanding out a little bit. Let's look into different types of builds, still utilizing obviously pyramid turtle, but this build's gonna be focused a little bit more on Book of Life and recurring zombies back from the grave, and you'll see once I get there. But zombies, obviously, I don't think they really hit their full stride until Zombie Master came out in Tactical Evolution along not Pyramid Turtle, along with Ill Blood, but definitely more so the Zombie Master. The Zombie Master was insane for the deck, and at the time you still had good discard fodder in the form of like Treeborn Frog, Malicious was available, Disc Commander, I believe, was at 1 when that came out. So there was still good discard fodder, and that's when zombies really, I'd say Pyramid Turtle and Goat format, that was when they're picking up steam. The release of Zombie Master really got them rolling, and then the release of Mizuki and Goblin Zombie the next year is what put them on like the, hey, I'm extremely competitive and ready to go. So I'm going to be bringing you a slightly different build. It's focused up around a little bit more chaosy. Only 1 BLS, no Chaos Sorcerers. More like a standard Goat format in that sense, or a standard Goat deck in that sense. But I do have a couple ideas I've been tossing around. I think Zombies is the perfect deck to introduce Royal Oppression. 2 copies of Royal Oppression, so Oppression Zombies, that I've never really seen anyone toy around with, but definitely still the 3 copies of Pyramid Turtle, 2 Vampire Lords, and 1 Ryukoki, and some other like Battle Searchers, still like the Giant Rat, things of that nature, but using those 2 Royal Oppressions to really lock the opponent out of being able to make Chaos Monsters or going off with Metamorphosis. I think that could definitely be something to look into here soon. So I might toy around with that a little bit, but anyways, let's just go ahead and get into it. So trap lineup, first as always, 1 Call the Haunted, 1 Ring of Destruction, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential Tributes, and 1 Dust Tornado. So these are the one-ofs. Everything's extremely standard. I only chose 1 Dust Tornado because I'm playing triple Trap Dust Shoot rather than 2 Dust Tornado, 2 Sakuretsu Armor, as it has become a very standard trap lineup. So the reason I chose triple Trap Dust Shoot, and Trap Dust Shoot's another card that I'm also under the opinion of 1 copy is perfectly acceptable because it's more likely to be live when you draw it. You're less likely to draw early, but it's more likely to be live when you draw it. And I'm totally okay running 1 copy. Ask anyone who played in like 2007, 2008, 2009, hey, was that 1 copy Trap Dust Shoot worth it? And I'll say, why would you drop it? It's one of the best one-ofs. So 1-of Trap Dust Shoot, still good. But the reason I'm playing 3 Trap Dust Shoot, and I think it's definitely important to play 3 Trap Dust Shoot in Goat format, zombies specifically, to be able to hit those Chaos Monsters out of their hand, first off, because it's extremely difficult to deal with, and then secondly, to be able to prepare for oncoming Metamorphosis or things of that nature. So really just how can you play around Thousand Eyes Restrict? And that's, you have to be able to see it coming. And Trap Dust Shoot prepares you for that, seeing what kind of metamorphosis they may have in your hand while getting rid of those Chaos Monsters. It is extremely important to keep those Chaos Monsters off the field, so I find Trap Dust Shoot to be the best form of that. Alternatively, you could also do what, was it Eric Wu? Was that his name? Who won the 2005 championship. He played one copy of Bottomless Trap Hole. Not a bad card, but I think that would be more of a side deck option because that's a little bit more limited on the decks it's going to be usable against. But going into the spells, I run one Typhoon, one Duo, one Charity, one Greed, Premature, Heavy Storm, oops, Snatch Steal. So obviously the big was at the big 7, really just the 7 spells that any deck can run with. And there's no reason not to for the most part. And then for the 2-ofs, I have 2 Creature Swap. So Creature Swap's a very weird card because I don't run Scapegoat to help with that. In fact, the only, I guess, prime swappable targets are going to be Sangan and Pyramid Turtle. But as I've come to play more and more in GOAT format, and I've been playing GOAT format for a very long time, is that whenever anyone plays, they go out of their way. It's insane the lengths people go to make sure recruiters do not get their effect. Whether it's Mystic Tomato, Shiny Angel, Pyramid Turtle, Giant Rat, Mother Grizzly, I guess, Flying Kamakari, whatever. UFO Turtle, I'll throw that in there too. People try really hard to get recruiters not to get their effects. So if you set it, somehow they always have the Nobleman or Exiled Force. It's a fact. And if you summon it in attack mode, they always have the answer in the form of Sakuretsu Armor or Smashing Ground, Warrior Lady, Tribe Infecting Virus, or whatever it might be. They just always have it. So the best way is going to be just summoning it. And if they don't stop the initial summon, Creature Swap. And that ensures you are able to crash into it at some point during the duel, well, hopefully if you have a monster. But crash into it unless they sacrifice it for an Air Knight or Jinzo or whatever it might be. But yeah, I've definitely come to like 2 Creature Swap, and it acts as a, I don't run Nobleman, but it acts as a pseudo-Nobleman, I guess, to be able to seal those face down to Koichi's, Faiths, or whatever it might be. So, good card for 2 of. I am a fan of that right now. And then I run Triple Book of Moon. Again, Thousand Eyes Restrict is just a debilitating card, to say the least. So, and I will always run Triple Book of Moon in a zombie deck. I think it's kind of needed. I definitely could fit in Nobleman's and make it like a, take out maybe a Creature Swap and then just add 2 Nobleman's, and that would make it a 41 card deck. I have no problem with that because that also lessens the chance of me drawing like Vampire Lord or Ryukyoki. But for now I'm just playing those Book of Moon almost specifically to counter Thousand Eyes Restrict, and alternatively Kaiku, which in case he attacks, I guess, he could hurt. But also King Tiger Wangyu. So Book of Moon, always very important to have 3 of. And then finally, 3 Book of Life. Something I'm toying around with. Obviously, zombies have something special in the form of Book of Life that it gives them the ability to do something that no other deck can do. No other deck has the recurability that zombies have with Triple Book of Life. I think it's something that in the past I definitely have never wanted to play on that strength. Because Book of Life, while being an immense and enormous strength, its effect is insane. Taking away from Chaos Monsters, getting rid of Serpent, getting rid of just generic Call the Haunted, Premature Burial targets. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. For whatever reason in the past, I was just under the mindset of it's definitely a dead draw, and I would hate to have it early game, and for the most part, I would. Some games will go by where you'll draw like your copy list or whatever, and maybe you'll never see a zombie monster. It might happen. I don't know. So I was always under the impression that I would rather just play maybe 1 copy at most, if not no copies, and just let the zombies run on their own effects. However, zombies themselves, they just aren't powerful enough to do it. So let's push that strength envelope a little bit, I decided, and we'll go with 3 copies of Book of Life. And I support that a little bit with my monster lineup, you'll see, but moving on, I run 1 BLS, one Zaborg. I chose Zaborg as my tribute monster. I'm sure everyone who watches this, you see my last deck profile, where I have Zaborg over like Air Knight Karjath. I'm using it over Thunder Dragons or Azura Priest or anything else. And the reason, again, I choose Zaborg is just because of how good it is where zombies fail. And that's against Chaos Monsters. It's against sets because no Nobleman and Thousand Eyes Restrict. That is where Zaborg is prime, and his primeness is where zombies lack. So, kind of seemed like a pretty obvious choice to throw in for a light tribute monster. And 2400 is just, it's just always good. It is always good. It gets over every single fusion monster. It gets over every single monster actually or ties with besides this. I really can't think of anything else that doesn't get over. I am working on a Dark Magician deck in the future, so I guess Zaborg doesn't get over that. Not so much a Dark Magician deck as Skilled Dark Magician with one copy of Dark Magician that you can just summon at any time, gives access to all level 7, or just a really powerful monster for no reason other than just your normal play of the game, but that's for the future. Continuing on, one Sangan, one Serpent. Serpent is a card that, as I'm playing, if I ever decide to change the monster lineup, this will be one of the first to go. It is definitely a cool card, don't get me wrong. Serpent has showed time and time again how useful it is, but I don't run meta, I don't run card destruction, I don't run discard traps, or really any discard spells. In fact, the only thing I run discard-wise is Graceful Charity, and a Tribe Infecting Virus, which, by the way, I run one Tribe. So it's good for that and as duo protection, but I'm kind of wondering, is that enough a reason to run Serpent, or would I rather have a Blade Knight, Azura Priest, or that could be a Nobleman, or just really anything. So that's something to keep in mind as you're looking at this. Serpent is a great card, but has incredible utility, but is it the card? You know what I mean? One Breaker. So Breaker's a card that I go back and forth on a lot. This deck has some important summons and sets, but I wouldn't say it has any critical normal summons or sets. Typically, I will drop Breaker in lieu of Dust Tornado, for example, and that's what I do or have been doing in a lot of my decks, is dropping Breaker for a copy of Dust Tornado because I'd rather use those normal summons or sets for another monster. But with this deck running like triple Book of Life, the Premature and the Call of the Haunted, and the BLS, just stuff that's able to keep my turn going without those normal summons, I really don't have a problem with Breaker being in here. In fact, this is definitely, I'm not gonna say one of the few, but a huge, what am I trying to say? It's a deck where Breaker's definitely a boon. It definitely adds more to the deck than it takes away, just because I do have these other ways to special summon and use my turns other than just Breaker. And it gets rid of those Sakuretsu armors or whatever it might be that's gonna stop my Pyramid Turtle from crashing to bring something else out. So Breaker, very good card in zombies. One Faith. I don't know. I don't really like more than one Faith if I'm not running a very heavy spell lineup. And I am running a lot of spells, but if I'm running like Metamorphosis, Scapegoats, maybe like an enemy controller, I'd definitely be a lot more inclined to play double copies of Faith. It's weird, and Noblemans, but there have been games, I'm sure everyone's been in that situation where set Faith, set MST. They end their turn with 2 set back rows, MST, draw, flip Faith, activate MST again, and you just put yourself so far ahead off of 1 Faith and MST. What was it? It might be just 1 card actually, but the fact that they've lost 2 spells and traps, or they've been forced to prematurely activate something because of that, and then if you have a Tsukiyomi or something in hand, it's a very weird how far 1 Faith and 1 MST can actually get you in a game. It's proof that it doesn't have to be one of the power cards that Faith gets back, but I don't feel comfortable running more. But I am very comfortable running 1 copy of, that's for sure. I run 1 DD Warrior Lady, similar to Exile Force, but also a light monster just in case I do want to have that light option. And I can set it. Obviously, setting it, they crash into it, banishing it. It's always a great time. Getting rid of Sangan where Exile Force can't, and getting rid of all the Chaos monsters where Exile Force can't is fantastic. So I'll go ahead and push these to the side because that's it for the generic stuff. Then for the zombies, one Vampire Lord and one Ryukoki. I decided one of each instead of rather like two Vampire Lord or two Kokis. The reason I'm going one of each is because Pyramid Turtle gives that searchability for... Oh, sorry, something just happened. But Pyramid Turtle gives that searchability that I'm able to decide what I want in what scenario. And they both offer good options, I guess is the word. Vampire Lord obviously it eats up the format. If I'm going the offensive, Vampire Lord just completely eats up the format. And you'll just run over stuff, call traps. They have Sakuretsu armors, widespreads, whatever, it doesn't matter. Mirror Force, Torrent, great. Vampire Lord is going to win that game. And then I call traps. I don't know what everyone else calls. I think trap is the right thing to call because it just makes the game easier for you. It makes them start sending those dust tornadoes. They'll start with the dust tornadoes and then Sakuretsu armors. And then if that stuff's already gone, you're hitting the Mirror Force and the Torrent and things of that nature. That you will ensure that your game becomes significantly easier once you see those cards in the graveyard. So I do like calling traps, and I do like Vampire Lord and Ryukoki, obviously. Powerful 2400. Again, it's that attack that gets over everything, plus it gets over BLS. And then I run two Reapers. Kind of explanatory, but I will say, as I've played this deck, Reaper's definitely the main target. I've said it before, I'll say it every single time. Reaper's my favorite card, probably in the entirety of GOAT format. As soon as you draw this card and it hits the field, you're getting rid of at least one card your opponent has. They have to use at least one card to get rid of it, or get rid of Reaper. They cannot attack over it. They can't really do anything to it. They have to use some kind of card, whether it be Brain Control, Snatch Steal, Enemy Controller. If you prematurely activate Scapegoats or Book of Moon or anything, or if they let it go through, they're losing that card out of their hand. So Reaper is definitely one of the best cards of the format. This is a card I would toy around playing 3 copies, but 2 copies definitely successful and definitely probably the main target of Book of Life. Then 3 turtles, so that's explanatory, so I'm not going to go into that. Then finally, to support the 3 Book of Lives, I am running 3 Magical Merchants. As I was building this deck, I did pull up those 2007 decks with Zombie Master and Illblood, and my thought was, how can I best mimic those decks? And I thought this was it. Being able just to use Magical Merchant to send zombies to the graveyard or ensure they do get to the graveyard early on, it makes those Book Lives live for the rest of the duel. So that was my main thought process behind that, and it's worked out significantly well, I will say. I have become a fan of triple Magical Merchant and zombies along with triple Book of Life. It's enjoyable. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's working well. It's something I'm still testing, but something that I'm willing to move forward with and continue this push on the path of triple Magical Merchant. Maybe change up the monster lineup a little bit, maybe change up the trap lineup a little bit, throw in some Solemns or Noblemans or whatever it might be, but I guess that's more format dependent, and by that I mean GOAT format's changed a lot since 2005, as well as from region. So what they play in Italy, for example, to what they play in America, 2 very different formats in how they see the game. But I think Magical Merchant in the main deck with triple Book of Life is a very viable way to play the game. But that is my deck, so please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm getting much more views than I am getting subscribers. So if you could just do that, I do continue to share this because I absolutely love GOAT format, and I will continue to share my GOAT format decks. GOAT format's not my favorite, actually. I really enjoy 2009. Junk and Debris in Space is one of my favorite decks of all time, but GOAT format just happens to be the most popular. So I will continue to show my GOAT format decks as long as you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.